Code for Sustainable Homes was established by the government in 2007 as a way of trying to mark and also improve the sustainability of buildings. And on the whole, we very much support that principle. The problem with it is that a lot of the methodology and a lot of the criteria are not tested properly, they are not working environmentally, and furthermore it's another layer of legislation which is making the main task of sustainability more complicated. And we think that for that reason that we have to review its position entirely, because if we're actually going to create sustainable buildings, then we need to have a very clear and simple and focused approach which builds in learning. And unfortunately, too much legislation and bad legislation or bad codes and standards are actually taking us further away from that aim of delivering real sustainability in the built environment. Well, there's several areas of the code which are problematic. We have in the code, we have some areas which are areas which we sort of know about as building physics, in terms of building physics, in terms of construction, in terms of actual performance and delivery, but not many. So the energy areas of the code, which are actually sort of being integrated into the building regulations and into the zero carbon programme, I don't have a huge problem with them. I have some problems with them, but not as many problems as I have with areas which are effectively not properly tested, where we don't really have a proper evidence base. And those areas are, for example, the water areas, both water use in the house, but also the SUR, the surface runoff areas, and also the materials areas. But the basic problem is we're trying to do too many things at once. There's a problem of although there's individual sort of areas which are problematic, some of those could be repaired or integrated into other areas. But if we try to get people to do 10 things at one time, when really we are at a very low level of sustainability, then we are just not going to move forward. In fact, we confuse the situation and we make everyone take a tick box approach rather than a learning approach. And for that reason, we need to review the whole situation. The St Pancras Group is a group of the leading building experts in the country. And it's actually got quite a wide support outside of its group as well, from mainstream and sustainability organisations. And what we're saying is, look, energy use in building has gone up by at least 30% in the last 30 years, and it's continuing to go up. Carbon emissions are continuing to go up. The performance gap between the design performance and reality is not being narrowed. So we have to ask a fundamental question about whether we're doing legislation the right way or not. And our opinion is we're not doing it the right way. We need to work on the three principles which are a simplicity, which includes a kind of focus, integrity of the tools, so only do things which are properly tested and understood, so only legislate for those things certainly, and learning. We must build in learning into all processes. So that would then say, right, let's simplify all the legislation so we just have building regs and some planning issues. We only make requirements for things which we actually know work, but we put stretching standards and stretching targets for those things, and then we monitor against those, and we build in research programs and learning and feedback so that the whole industry can raise its game. And rather than people pretending to do things and them not really working, or following a tick box approach which leads to bizarre side effects and many negative unintended consequences, we actually move forward as a country. So I think there's a great opportunity for the government, particularly at the moment. Now we have a new government and we're reviewing these things, to actually put into place something which is much more coherent and much more evidence-based, but also which is actually raising up the whole standard of the industry and our culture.